Would you rather be stuck in a forest with a man or a bear?
Man or bear is this week's idiotic waste of time, and the answers that people are giving are very predictable because they're stupid.
Bear. Man is scary.
With a bear.
Well, I've heard about bears. They don't always attack you, right? So maybe a bear.
Probably a bear.
Oh, 100% a bear, which is like terrifying to say, but
Definitely a bear. Some men are very scary out there.
A bear.
Even some men are saying bear, although we could predict that this man's opinion will be whatever makes women approve of him.
If I were alone in the woods, would you rather me encounter a bear or a man?
I feel more like bear. I don't know, because I feel like I would know what the outcome would be with a bear.
Of course, clearly a great source of bear advice. So here's the thing. I have met bears in the woods. I am bear aware. That's what they say in bear country. Bears are a big deal in bear country, and they want you to keep them to a bare minimum. Bear spray costs $50. I've also met men in the woods, and I gotta tell you, not as stressful. And I know what you're thinking. I'm not a woman. Men are not women. Please tell me you were thinking that. And so therefore, a man would not be a danger to me. Well, let's take a look at some statistics. Who gets murdered by strangers more? Oh, here's the source. A larger percentage of males, 21%, were murdered by a stranger than females, 12%. So in this scenario, as a man, I would be in roughly 21/12 as much danger, which is almost double. And yet, even though I have more to fear when I encounter a man in the woods, I experience no adrenaline response. I fear not for my very life. I reach not for my man spray. No, I carry only bear spray, upon which I place 5 fingers during each encounter of bear awareness. A lot of people have been providing fuzzy math about bear versus man. Again, note the level of masculinity.
To be clear, the answer is unequivocally a bear. In the United States, there are 340,000 bears and about 57 million hikers, 26 million of which are female. Since 2020, there have been exactly 7 women killed by bears.
All right.
There are also 165 million men and 168 million women. Since 2020, there have been 8,000 fatal attacks on women by men.
All right, I see where you're going.
In order to adjust for population, the number of bears in the United States would have to increase by a multiplier of 485 in order to equate to the same population of men. So in this hypothetical, 3,395 deaths.
Okay, it's a lot more than 7.
You're still greater than 2 times more likely to be killed by a man than a bear if you're a woman in the United States.
Wait a minute, I thought you said there were only 26 million hikers. Don't you have to be where bears are to be in a bear attack? Are you suggesting that if there were more bears that they would all be taking Ubers? I did the math for you. This divided by this starts with 3 zeros, and this divided by this starts with 4. The reason this is all so stupid is that the only way to figure out who's more dangerous is total attacks divided by total encounters. And how are you going to count the number of encounters you have with strange men every day? Isn't it thousands a day if you live in a city? When was the last time you bumped into 1,000 bears? They thrive in Grand Teton National Park, and I saw 0. So I'd rather run into a bear is clearly dishonest. They're arguing in bad faith. Why would they do that? Let's revisit Who is a 10. If you haven't seen the video, it's on YouTube when you're done here. It explains basically that men compete for status and power out in the open, while women disguise their power games as equality and fairness while making power moves in secret, and one of those power moves is the accusation. So just like a lot of women are saying, I'm a 10, you're a 10, we're all 10s, everyone is beautiful, even though they don't believe it.
Do you think Lizzo is beautiful?
I mean, yeah. Lizzo is hot.
Yeah. 100%.
Molly, has anyone ever told you that you look like Lizzo? Huh?
Women also like to say that men are dangerous, because that turns you into a threat that needs to be managed. Worse than a bear with Uber. So if it can be agreed upon that you are more dangerous than a bear, then that justifies excluding you from the power hierarchy, and then you become this little fellow who's not having a good time. And even though it's not a realistic threat evaluation, remember, this is the chance of it happening per year, and it's even lower when considering if it's a stranger, like a man in the woods. The collective negotiation appears to be working. More and more men are reporting feeling excluded from the job market and the dating market and pretty much everything. I know so many men who are significantly above average, and they go out in the world to do something and they get told, yeah, no, we're saving that for someone else. This was gonna be me. If I didn't blow up on TikTok, this was about to be me. There's a smaller one on the back. He doesn't have a mouth. That's kind of more accurate. So the math doesn't make that much sense, but we don't really need it anyway, because nobody actually believes that anybody would be more frightened to meet a man in the woods than a bear. And if you do believe that, try it and bring $50. Once you understand the pattern, it becomes a little more clear. When large numbers of women are saying things they clearly don't believe, like men are more dangerous than bears, or Lizzo is a 10.
Has anyone ever told you that you look like Lizzo?
It's just a performance. It means I'm nice and I'm sweet and I'm not competing for unearned advantages. And whenever a group of people votes itself unearned advantages at the expense of another group of people, those people eventually stop doing productive things, and then society collapses. This is what every city looks like right now. This doesn't have to be this complicated. It doesn't need to be a 7-minute video. All you need to know is lying is bad. When people start to say things like Lizzo is hot and I feel safe around bears, just go, well, what's your ulterior motive? Nobody knows how dangerous men are compared to bears, but I do know that I would rather see another bear in the woods than another woman in human resources.